Hi and welcome to my Python YouTube channel. It's awesome to have you here. If you like this video, a thumbs up would be great. And make sure to subscribe for future videos. I also have a blog at prosperocoder.com with lots of cool stuff, so feel free to check it out. In the previous part, we discussed some of the Kivy layouts that we're going to use in our project. Before we finally jump into the project, let's play with them for a while. In this part of this series, I'll show you some examples of embedding layouts so that you can practice a bit. This is important because we'll be using lots of embedded layouts in the program. Now let's get down to work. Here are the examples of embedded layouts. In the first example, we'll embed float layouts and relative layouts inside a grid layout. Well, as mentioned in the previous part, the float layout and the relative layout are pretty similar. The difference is that with the float layout, the coordinates are not relative to the position of the layout, whereas with the relative layout they are. Here's a simple demonstration. We'll use a grid layout and embed 4 other layouts in it, 2 float layouts and 2 relative layouts. Here's the Python code. Well, we need a grid layout to embed the other layouts into, so we have to import the grid layout and return it. And now the Kivy code. Now here we have the button rule, and here's our grid layout with 2 rows. And now let's add 2 float layouts and 2 relative layouts to the grid layout, and there should be 2 buttons in each of them. So the first float layout, the first relative layout with 2 buttons, and the second relative layout and the second float layout. Now to make things clear, the buttons in the float layouts will have a text starting with F. F2A, F2B, the same here. And the buttons in the relative layouts with R, like here. Good. Now, if we run this program, we will see the following. Well, it's a bit difficult to see what it's all about. This is because although there are 4 cells in the grid layout, 2 rows and 2 columns, we don't actually see the borders between them. So let me add some border lines and annotations to the picture so that it's clear for you. Have a look at the 2 buttons F1A and R1A. They both have the coordinates 0, 0. The former is relative to the whole window, though, whereas the latter is relative to the layout it's in, so relative layout 1. Good. In our next example, we'll make a tab menu using a box layout for the menu items. The whole menu will be embedded in an anchor layout. Here's the Python code. We need an anchor layout, which should be returned. And here's the Kivy file. So the menu should be in the upper left corner of the program window. So anchor X left, anchor Y top. Now the menu itself is a box layout with horizontal orientation. For simplicity, it will just contain labels imitating the menu items. Now we need a fixed size for the box layout, or otherwise it will fill the whole anchor layout. As we are inside the anchor layout, we must set size hint to none first, and then use size to set the size in pixels. Here are the menu items. And now, if we run this, we will get the top menu, or rather an imitation of a menu. Good. In our next example, we'll make a toolbar and place it on one side of the window. It will contain simple square buttons placed in a stack layout. The toolbar itself will be placed inside an anchor layout, just like before. This means that you don't actually have to change the Python file this time. And here's the Kivy file. All elements in the toolbar will be square buttons, so we set the size of each button to 50 by 50. Now the toolbar should be on the right side of the program window at the top. So anchor X right, anchor Y top. Now the toolbar is a stack layout with top to bottom and right to left orientation. Now we need a fixed size for the stack layout. So size hint none, size 100 by 300. And here are the buttons with a text, which is a number, just for simplicity. And here's the final effect. Here we have the toolbar. And as you can see, these buttons were added in the top to bottom and right to left order. So top to bottom and then right to left. And one more example. In this one, we'll embed grid layouts in a grid layout to imitate different cell sizes, which you may be familiar with if you ever use Windows 8 or Windows Phone systems with tiles. Let's modify the Python file first. First of all, we need a grid layout to embed the other grid layouts into. So we have to import the grid layout class. And here, let's create a custom grid layout to act as the outer container. And this outer grid layout will be returned. And now the Kivy file. Now we'll need big buttons and small buttons to represent the tiles. So here we have the two rules, big button and small button. They both inherit from button and they differ in size. Now here's our outer grid layout with 3 rows. Size hint set to none so that we can size a fixed size, which is 600 by 600. Now the big buttons will be placed directly in the outer grid layout. The small buttons will be placed in inner grid layouts embedded in the outer one. So here we have 3 big buttons. Then we have a grid layout with 4 small buttons. Then a couple big buttons again, and another grid layout with 4 small buttons. And now if I run this, I will get something like that. The big buttons, then the 4 small buttons here, then the other 4 big buttons and the other 4 small buttons. Now, this was the last example for now, but as you might guess, the possibilities are endless. It all depends on what layout you need. You can nest layouts on multiple levels, which turns out to be very flexible. Now, with the basics of widgets and layouts covered, we could move on to the next topic, for example, graphics or events in Kivy. I'm not going to do it though. Instead, we're going to jump right into the project and we'll stop to discuss the stuff we need when we need it. In the next part, we'll make a short break from programming and we'll have a look at the assets that will be used in the app. And then we'll start building the app from scratch. Okay, that's it for this video. If you like it, a thumbs up would be great. Also, make sure to subscribe for future videos. If you want to leave a comment or ask a question, you're welcome to do so. Thanks for watching.